In an era where plumbers and hedgehogs dominated, were you playing as a worm? I know it's a bit of a weird question, but I was. I'm Mark from Digital Dissection, and I think Jim is a fine name for an invertebrate. And today's retrospective brings us to the atypical platformer by Shiny Entertainment, 1994's Earthworm Jim. Platforming games have been around for quite some time, with an early definition of the concept confining a player to a single screen. You're often tasked with climbing and advancing through stages, and it was incredibly popular throughout the 80s and early 90s. Naturally, technology got better, and platformers extended beyond singular screens into larger worlds with considerable depth to the experience. Based on that, many of us immediately think of blue hedgehogs and overalls-wearing plumbers. But out of this genre, there was one IP that managed to really disrupt the industry, with a creative journey that was a bit different compared to the rest of the field. To tell Earthworm Jim's story, though, we need to begin with Playmates Toys, a toy manufacturer that began in 1966 and saw incredible growth using a popular series of toys based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise in 1989. After noticing the success of Sonic the Hedgehog's first two games, Playmates saw an opportunity to enter the gaming market with a concept of their own. While Super Mario might have had a tight grip on home gaming consoles, it was clear that with Sonic's popularity, it was possible for newcomers to etch out some market share. Earthworm Jim's journey as a property was a bit of a risky move in the early 90s, as the concept and the property itself would begin as a video game series, and further branch out from there into toys, comics, and even an animated show that would last for 2 seasons. The idea, however, wouldn't even really start out with such grand ambitions. Instead, it would begin with a sketch by series creator Douglas TenNapel. And Shiny Entertainment was so impressed with this concept that they bought the rights and began production of the video game. Early on, however, Shiny Entertainment sought out to fully explore their creativity, as their previous works were heavily restricted due to licensed game partnerships and defined outlines they had to adhere to. Comparatively, the designs that the Earthworm Jim team would create were very diverse, and upon first playing this game, it was noticeable. Earthworm Jim's first level literally takes place in a junk city, which is a massive intergalactic landfill. Quite a bit different than a Mario or Sonic game. It's full of things that want to attack you, from various different birds, to trash beings in the form of dogs, and even a redneck who pukes fish at you. If this doesn't sound like a normal platformer, well, you weren't going to really find this kind of stuff in other brands at the time. After all, Earthworm Jim is literally a worm who found a superpowered suit that fell on top of him, and what follows are the exploits of alien life trying to get it back from him. As such, levels within the game take on a very unfamiliar look, as traversing each one includes many hidden areas, extra lives, and ways to replenish ammunition, which do carry a level of scarcity. While Earthworm Jim can whip his head like a melee weapon, a majority of enemies can be dispatched with his blaster, and properly timing usage can make or break a playthrough. However, there are numerous bosses that vary considerably in difficulty, and will at times rely on both to be successful. While combat is a very big part of Earthworm Jim, what I always found more challenging was choosing how to approach most levels. When put side by side with other games in the industry at the time, similar platformers relied on relatively linear experiences with a few gotcha moments. Earthworm Jim proved very early on that it understood you had feelings, and it noticeably cared little about them. While there were differences between the Genesis and Super Nintendo experiences, the difficulty level of Earthworm Jim 1 was intense, and provided an escalated level of challenge. One of these areas outside boss fights were asteroid levels between the main stages, where Jim has to race a character named Psychro, his arch-nemesis and bounty hunter in the overall franchise's scope. These races do take a fair level of skill to complete, and should Jim lose, he faces loss of extra lives, continues, and a one-on-one battle with Psychro in the next level. In this first outing, banking as many lives as possible is critical, because Earthworm Jim's levels can reach points of no return, so maximizing these opportunities are of the utmost importance. Otherwise, it's game over fairly quickly. And this is especially given the traversal difficulty of the game, which sometimes relies on leaps of faith, experimentation, and ignoring your own mental state, like within its down the tubes level that requires you to use a submersible-like vessel that you can either break with too many hits, or technically run out of oxygen. However, the area of the game that will inevitably cause generational trauma is that of the For Pete's Sake level, where Jim has to escort Peter Puppy across an alien planet. It's a level requiring an intense amount of timing and skill, as Peter will turn into a mutated form and get quite angry if he's attacked or falls into a pit during the level. I still see this level in my head quite often, as my psychiatrist can attest. At its core, however, Earthworm Jim is quite different from the rest of his generation in terms of gaming experiences. And that's because the game varies greatly from level to level. Its strongest attribute could easily be its art style and somewhat adult tone in some of its design. In comparison to many of its platforming predecessors, Earthworm Jim showed that it's possible to break from a side-scrolling dynamic into a multi-directional 2D experience. And this is definitely showcased within the Snot a Problem levels, where Jim bungee jumps next to a literal anthropomorphic pile of snot, who is named Major Mucus. Seriously, Earthworm Jim is full of stuff like this. On the other side of the equation, however, the 1994 title is a commentary on the state of platforming games of this era, as Jim's love interest is comedically called Princess What's-Her-Name, and this is absolutely poking fun at Super Mario, who easily overdid the save the princess trope. Earthworm Jim almost fully disregards saving anything, instead beating the forces of evil who are trying to steal back the supersuit our slender friend is piloting. It's an interesting piece of mid-90s gaming at minimum, but it remains as a testament to what's possible against titans of the gaming industry. Nobody exactly had Earthworm Jim on their bingo cards in 1994, and the title's difficulty, creativity, and unique level designs make it a shining beacon of differentiation at a time where so many people were copying each other. There's also a lot of fart sounds. I actually kind of forgot about that. And as always, thank you for watching this retrospective as we revisited Shiny Entertainment's Earthworm Jim. Stay tuned for similar content on this channel, and if you want to see us tackle one of your favorite games, we're always open to suggestions in the comments. Or you can email us over at digitaldissectionpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, pop culture nerds, keep on dissecting.